Now, tonight we're joined by a lady who has battled and survived a 16-year drug addiction. Now 3 years clean, she has reinvented herself and is now a budding entrepreneur. It's Mandy Alexis. Hi, Mandy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Before we get into it, can you just tell us a bit about where you grew up and where you're from?
Yeah, so I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And so I grew up there, pretty, standard schooling, went to Lower Seaforth, Gordon Bell was an intercity school. I did grow up with, an alcoholic father who was in and out of my life. So that probably had something to do with my choices later down in life, And yeah, so when we mentioned my 16 years of addiction, so that was cocaine, but I actually started doing drugs like way before then. By 12, I was already smoking marijuana, like weed. And then by 14, 15, mushrooms and acid and ecstasy were thrown into the mix with also the combination of alcohol. And that carried me, those, dabbling with those and mixing those until, all throughout junior high and high school. And then 19, by the time getting into the bar scene, I was working as a server. It was very accessible, and I tried it once and I loved it. Thought, oh, whatever, this is going to be like a small portion of my life. And I was very wrong. It was most of my adult life. As you had said, I'm 3 years clean, but starting from 19, I jumped into that world, that life. And yeah, it was very different than I had imagined it would be.
Going back to when you was 12, when you started smoking marijuana and stuff, was that a free choice to have, or was you peer pressured into it? Did you want to fit in the crowd? Why did you start at such a young age?
It was just around. Some of my friends had older siblings, and so it was accessible to us. And really, it was curiosity for me. I didn't feel pressured into it, although, I know there are a lot of kids who do, right? And yeah, so it was accessible to us. I saw how much fun, my, older friends, siblings were having with the laughing and everything, and just kind of seemed kind of carefree. So we're like, oh, let's give this a shot. And yeah, of course, anyone who has dabbled in that that particular pastime knows it. The positive, yet there's also negative effects to it too, right? But at 12, I wasn't very concerned or even thinking about those, right?
And did that sort of affect your school life and your relationship with your mum and stuff when you was that young, or did you hide it well?
Yeah, I think I actually hit it well, which probably, led to why it was so easy for me to maybe drift into the lifestyle I did, because I wasn't suffering with my grades or anything like that. And I was still keeping on top of, being a part of extracurricular activities within school and everything. But yeah, some of my other friends did suffer in that way. So I did see it happen, the effects, but I was just kind of oh, well, it's not me. So, I don't have to worry kind of thing. Right. But my kind of fall down came later in life, when after many, many years of doing cocaine, and I realized my brain stopped working the way I wanted it to. And, everything was affected by it. The way I functioned within my daily tasks at work, how I was present. It was I was either chasing the high or chasing a sleep, it was I'd be up for a few days, go, but, not really there. And then I'd need to crash for a couple of days, and yeah, it was pretty intense. Sometimes staying up for 2 to 3 days, still working and, going trying to have a social life and seem normal, right?
Do you feel like you was taking cocaine in your adult life because you was in the bar scene and the party scene, or do you feel like you was trying to escape from something?
I don't know. At first, I thought I was just kind of doing it because it was like the next thing to try, the next part of my life, right? But if I, like, you know, if I'm really honest with myself now, like, I never really didn't have a vice, right? So, because by 12, I was already dabbling, like, not that I was always like high or like any, like, you know, I wasn't constantly smoking weed at 12, but, you know, dabbling within it and then experimenting with other drugs. Like, obviously, there were some things happening within my brain, even still wasn't fully developed, right? So at the time, I wouldn't have said I was trying to like run from something or escape something. In the moments, I felt like I was just really trying to experiment and stuff. However, like, now looking back, there was something, like, you know, why was that my choice of like just of discovering life? You know what I mean? Like, why wasn't I doing more of other things? And that was what I chose, right? So there was something about the alternate reality, like, that was pleasing to me, because I kept choosing those elements to for my pastimes, right?
Was you ever afraid of dying?
No, actually, I wasn't. Yeah, which maybe that's why it didn't make me, you know, stop me from trying all this different stuff, because I didn't fear that it was going to harm me to that point. Because even still, like, thinking about it, and over the years of being addicted, I did see friends overdose and die, and it still didn't stop me. Which you'd think that would have been a huge wake up call, seeing, you know, my 20-something-year-old friend not make it through the night because of, you know, because of our lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't afraid. I thought, you know, I guess we all kind of might have that in us where we say, oh, it'll never happen to me, right? But that's not true. We don't know. Well, we don't know if it'll ever happen to us. So we should, like, I am lucky, obviously, that it didn't, but I did see it in my circle. But I still didn't make me stop. When you're doing it, like, you're, you know, the first rail of the night, if you will, like, it hits you, and then you're kind of, they call it chasing the dragon. You're always chasing, so you keep doing more and more and more, but you can't get that same hit that you got from that, like, very first one of the night. And then that's very dangerous, right? Because, yeah, you take too much, or even you take the wrong batch.
And how bad did it get?
Well, I mean, there were times where I had been up for days, and I remember, like, my whole world seemed like kind of surreal. Like, I guess my brain would be playing many tricks on me, and I would think something was happening in life that actually wasn't. And I remember, like, one time, like, freaking out on friends or family about like things I thought they were doing, right? But they weren't, because, but my, like, you can develop like paranoia, and you do start to make up stories, and you think like kind of like the worst, or that everyone's out to get you and stuff. Like, so I did hit a few points where that happened. Sometimes I would express it to people, like, and like accuse them, and other times I would feel it, but almost try to contain myself from like making those actions and steps towards calling someone out, right? Because I was like battling with, like, is it just the drugs? Like, you know, like, but it's scary because your mind is playing tricks on you, and you sometimes don't know reality from like fable, right? So it can get pretty intense.
But was you sustaining your life with your work and your drug taking balance, or did it get to a point where the drugs was costing too much and then you had to do other things to try and get that fix?
No, actually, like, I didn't hit that rock bottom where, luckily, because I do also know people that did. But I did sometimes work two jobs, right? Like, you know, but never did I have to do anything like, you know, sexual favors or selling my stuff or stuff like that in order to
Or
get it.
stealing,
Or stealing, yeah. But eventually what happened was I just had enough of like that entire scene, right? Like, the way I felt, the way I was like suppressing my progression in every aspect of like growth, The relationships that I had, like, even though like I can say there was love in the relationship, it was still toxic because we're all living in the same world of like drug use and alcohol abuse, and an addict's first, like, like you want that fix. So sometimes there were some like shady things that would happen, even though they're your friend and they love you, like, they would still like ditch you somewhere if they knew there was a party somewhere else to get, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like things like that. Or so yeah, like I just was done with that whole thing. I was done destroying myself. I was done with the half-assed friendships. I was done with feeling exhausted and confused, and I was done with it all. Like, that's the only thing I'd ever known, but I knew that there had to be something better. I just knew it. Like, I was like, there's no way that this is as good as it gets.
What steps did you take to become clean?
So yeah, so I took many steps, and it was a process. Like, when I had decided like enough is enough, I still fell off the wagon a few times. I would go like a couple months, and then like, I'd go out and have a few drinks and think, oh, I can do just one, but that's never the case. But there was a few things that happened along my journey that really helped me stay on this path. Was holding myself accountable. So when I did like fall off the wagon, I would have people around me say like, it's okay, like, and I would say, no, it's not okay. Because if I let it be okay, then I'm going to continue down this path that I don't want to be on. So I would hold myself accountable, and I would gently, get, frustrated with myself, so that I would remember that I don't want this, and like tell myself it's not okay, and I can do better, and, just keep trying. I also had to have many talks with people around me, because obviously your environment is huge when you are in every aspect. Like they say, like, you are your 5 closest friends, right? So I needed to tell people that I couldn't hang out with them anymore, and that they needed to stop inviting me places. And I literally had to take like a million steps away from like my whole social life, because it seemed that everything that we did involved drugs in some way. We would go to like special events, bowling, we would go for dinner, it would end up with that, and it was crazy. If I think about it, it was literally like we celebrated, we did cocaine, something bad happened, we did cocaine, like, it was like, it was wild. So taking a step back from my environment, but then finding a new community, that's important, because you don't want to like make yourself secluded where you are alone by all the time. So I actually found a group on Facebook, and it was about uplifting others was the group, and just being, helping people stay positive and help whatever. And one of our tasks was to make motivational art. And so you were just supposed to take a photo and then just put something motivational on the photo. Well, during this process, I discovered I had a knack for seeing the beauty in the world, and then I could come up and match a motivational saying with the photo. So I started creating this art, and it was the feedback that I was getting from people was one of the things that helped push me to want to do better, because I saw the impact I was having on others' lives, right? So getting involved in something community wise was what I would recommend, even if it's just at AA meetings, right? I know many people, some of my other friends who went through this would go and talk at meetings to help, to give back, to inspire others. So that was something that was really big for me, that helped. I seeing meditation, working out. Like, obviously I didn't pile it all on at once. Like, you got to take steps, right? Like, because if you try to do it all at once and then you fail, you're going to think you can't do it, right? But I added in meditation slowly, mindfulness stuff. I made sure I was like working out, eating differently. Slowly I'm adding all these different things to my list to help change all of the habits that I had, right? So I literally had to reinvent myself from like from everything I once was to everything that I wanted to be, right?
What do you do now if you're like having a bad day and stuff? Because obviously, anyone who knows who's faced any form of addiction, it doesn't just go away. So, how have you changed your mindset to not want to go back to them choices?
Yeah, well, you know, you have like having a support team is really important. Um, and sometimes people don't have it like that within their groups. Like I had some friends that didn't party and I had some friends that did. So for me, I was able to at least lean on those other ones. But like community is important. So I suggest to anyone who's listening that doesn't have the support they need yet to just reach out and find it through groups, whether it's through Facebook, because there's tons of ways to connect people there. Like I know some people refuse to go because they feel ashamed. They don't think they should ask for help. They don't think they don't want to show people that they have this issue. But you know, like those people are here to help. And you know, I had one friend who started working out more and meeting people at the gym. So, you know, like I actually had to do a bunch of different things too to find my stuff. So I suggest just go out and try new things. Like we have a world full of stuff to do, you know, like there's so many activities. What even, you know, and a lot of it you can just find online and even start doing it at home just to like get your mind busy and your hands busy. You got to change your habits. You got to find what you love. Like I didn't know what I like to do because all I like to do was party. My life was that, right? So it took some time, but I just kept trying things and put myself out there. And I just encourage everyone just not to give up on themselves. Like I still have my bad days where I like that I'm, you know, sad and mad and angry and I feel frustrated, but you know, I don't let those take away from the progress that I have done. Right. And yeah, I'm always happy if someone wants to have a talk who needs someone to lean on, or even just if you know they feel more comfortable sharing their story with someone who's been through it and not necessarily in person. Like I'm here to be in ear or texting or whatever, right? I just want people to know they have support out there, right? And you can do it. So
Brilliant. And just want to say huge congratulations for staying clean for so long, and I hope it may continue. We said in your intro as well that you're an entrepreneur. What business are you running and how are you finding that?
Yeah, so I have a promotional branding business. So I've been in the industry for 8 years actually. And then I was with one company, changed to another company, and then COVID hit and things kind of switched. And I decided I was about a year clean already. So I decided to do it on my own, like go independently. And so I took like most of my clients and I obviously had to build up new ones, but so I did that during COVID. I launched Mandy Alexis marketing, been able to develop my structure where I can actually like work from anywhere. So right now I'm in Nicaragua. I was in Costa Rica last month. Yeah. So when I say it completely reinvented my life, like I have, not even just in the sense I've let go of my addiction and that I have a career that allows me to have this time freedom and financial freedom, but I really did work on the traumas and healing myself from deep within, which I think is also something people should be aware of when they are getting over any kind of addiction or change in their life, right? Because we all have these traumas, little traumas, big traumas, that unless we deal with them, they will stay with us forever and they will affect our life forever. So, you know, not to be afraid to dig deep and really do the work to let go of those demons and those that pain that a lot of people hold on to, not necessarily because they want to, but they don't know how to let go. So, you know, I did a lot of energy clearing and stuff and trauma clearing as well during my healing to help me stay away from going backwards, right?
And with running a business, what's some struggles you find being an entrepreneur?
Well, you know, I do a lot of it by myself. I do have a team, like someone to help me with some things, but obviously, you know, just one of the biggest things is maybe not always knowing what money will come through, right? But I've just really put a lot of trust in my journey that everything will be okay. But it's easier said than done. You know, and just making sure to stay on top of everything, like I stuff because I'm like, you know, but it's totally worth it. Like if any, like I totally encourage anyone who has a dream or an idea or something, like to go out and make it happen, because you know we are here to create and live and laugh and love and challenge ourselves on many different levels. So yeah, it's you know, stuff comes up where some, you know, like it's different all the time, but really it's just those things where maybe you don't know what to do because it's something new that has come into your light of like, because you know, when you're first starting entrepreneurship, you've got to learn how to set up this and set up that and figure out this, right? And then sometimes things come along later. So, but it's all about perseverance and just, you know, not giving up when we hit those walls. Like, so, and just, you know, take a break if you need to, step back, you know, but don't give up.
And do you think battling an addiction has helped giving you the drive needed in business? Because you've got through something so big and come out on the other side that when something happens in business, it gives you the strength and determination to carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I had a lot of determination before, but definitely this proved to myself on another level. Yeah, like fuck, I can do anything. Like, you know, like in 3 years, like I feel like I've accomplished and created like a lot, and I did a lot. And sometimes I forget to celebrate myself, and then when I do, it feels so good. And that's another thing, people can't forget to celebrate your little wins and your big wins. Like, you know, like you go 1 week, yes, do celebrate. You know, you go 2 weeks, celebrate. Like, you know, like even that first day you celebrate. Like it's like people put a lot of emphasis on just celebrating things like graduation, birthdays, like the promotion, but like let's not forget about our personal work. That needs to be celebrated, you know.
You said earlier if people want to reach out to you, they can. So how can they find you?
Sure. So on Facebook and Instagram, it's at Mandy Alexis Motivation. So you can find me there. And if they want to check out some of my art that I've created, which actually can be purchased as canvases or mugs, journals, like there's a bunch of different ways to support that way or get motivated, I should say. It's Mandy Alexis motivation.ca.
Chuck the links in the description so people get to you straight away then. One last question, and this is something I ask all my guests. The answer that you give won't change your life's journey so far, but if you had 30 seconds with your 13-year-old self, what would you say?
See, that I don't know because to be fair, like I feel like without my journey, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I quite love who I am right now. I mean, if I had a message for other 13-year-olds, like I would tell them to honor their emotions and who they are and not try to hide themselves. Because I think after doing a lot of work and healing, I think that was part of what I was trying to do, was like tone myself down, hide who I was, you know, like I said, go into this other reality, just not mine, right? So just to honor who you are and, you know, shine bright.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. It's very inspirational. We'd love to have you come back on in a couple of months maybe and catch up with you and see how further you've got in your recovery and your dealing with your getting over your addiction. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you.